Hello and welcome to Take Time. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, and let's talk watches. As a matter of fact, we'll be talking about your first watch. Might I suggest this wonderful Timex? $500 and it's all yours. Only serious buyers should inquire. All bad jokes and serious inquiries aside, I have a 4-step guideline to picking your first watch. Now, if you tuned into this video thinking I was going to give you a long list of watches you should buy, that's not necessarily what I do. I can sit here all day and talk to you about the best watch for $1,000 or the best watch for $500. There's a link in the card at the top right of the screen. I'm not going to try to convince you of anything. I'm just going to try to help you make your first watch purchase. Now, if you are a veteran watch collector, I hope there are a few knowledge nuggets I can pass on to you, but today's video is solely centered towards the new collector. So seriously, the Timex, $500 is a good deal. Step number 1, what's your budget? Seriously, what's your budget? Some people have $1 million to spend, some people have a couple hundred to spend, some don't even have 2 nickels to rub together. And by the way, if you don't have 2 nickels to rub together, you should probably consider doing something else with your money. Now, I feel like a lot of veteran collectors, myself included, make the mistake of going into watch collecting on a singular level. We need to broaden our scope of how we collect. Now, when I think of buying my next watch, I'm thinking, my max amount of money is going to be $1,000. That's what I'm going to cap on for this next purchase. Instead of saying, this year I'm going to put $3,000 aside to buy a nice watch, or a good selection of watches, 1, 2, or 3. At the end of the day, I feel it's important to budgetize this hobby because at the end of the day, it's just that, a hobby, and you don't want to go into debt for what you're wearing on your wrist. So plan out how much you're willing to spend based on your income. Step number 2, what type of watch do you want? Now, there are a lot of different subcategories here, but I think the 4 main categories of watch are as so. You have chronographs, divers, dress watches, and casual watches. A casual watch being the more ambiguous territory here, that is a watch that is good for any situation and fulfills multiple roles quite well. I would say something like a Sinn 556 is a casual watch. It has a good depth rating. You can go diving with that thing. It looks good in a suit and it looks good in shorts. I mean, it's a good watch for everyday situations. It's a good casual watch. A diving watch, on the other hand, like my Seiko here, is distinguished by the bezel. Now, the bezel might be internal or it might be external like this, that you operate by hand, either by a crown on the outside of the case or just by turning the bezel itself. It helps you keep track of time in 60-minute increments, and if you're really good at remembering when you set this, you can track multiple hours worth of time. It's really great for divers as a tool, and it's really great for average consumers because it just looks really cool. A chronograph, on the other hand, takes timing events a step further. Now, you can time multiple hours worth of events through various subdials. You can track the speed of a moving object with a tachometer. You can check someone's heartbeat with a pulsation scale. Chronographs are really awesome. There's a ton of different variations. It's certainly something to check out. And lastly, you have the dress watch. I don't have an example to show you because I don't own one. They're just not, they're just not exciting. I hate to put it that way, but there's, I mean, if you go to a lot of formal occasions, if you live at your desk. I know this is kind of a dress watch, my Eterna. It's a early 70s Eterna Matic Contiki, and it's actually supposed to be a diving watch. It obviously doesn't have a bezel on it, but it's meant for swimmers. It's very water resistant, or it was. But it sort of crosses a bridge between, it's a casual watch. I lied, this is a casual watch. I don't have a dress watch. Step 3, now this actually ties in with step 1, which is budgetizing. So once you've figured out a good budget for yourself and you've seen all the watches that you can get, you want a diver now, you definitely want 5 dress watches. Figure out a good collection size for you. I see people condensing their collections as they begin to roadmap what they want in a collection. So begin to think about the scale of your collection. Like, how many watches do you actually want? Or how many watches do you actually think you're gonna wear? Be it 1, I do not know a one watch collector. If you're that person, let me know, because I'd love to talk to you. So step 3 was probably the easiest step, but once you budgetize yourself, find out what you like, and know how many watches you want to add to your collection, it makes collecting a whole lot easier. 4th, and finally, do you want a mechanical watch? Or do you want a quartz watch? Now, I don't personally have any ill feelings towards quartz watches. I was not personally touched by the quartz crisis. I know some people might still be aggrieved by the quartz crisis of the 1970s, but I have no ill feelings towards quartz watches. But I know there are a lot of purists that believe a watch should always be mechanical. Now, I'm going to give you the pros and cons for both sides here. I'm starting with quartz watches. One, you're always going to get something that's reliable, and I mean accurate on time, and will have a shelf life of at least 4 years on average. I mean to say that you will be able to pick that watch up and it should be accurate to the time or roundabout for a solid 4 years. You may have to change the date around, but that's typical. The one thing you are lacking is a nice sweep. Quartz watches are usually lighter than your average mechanical watch, and with quartz watches there is a lot of variation and a lot of great quartz watch makers, Citizen being one, Seiko being another, but there's others outside of Japan. Now, as I've mentioned, I have no ill feelings towards quartz watches, but I do recommend, if it is your first watch, to go with a mechanical. 3 reasons. Everybody loves the sweep. I have had numerous mechanical watches, and I can say that they will definitely last you longer than a 4-year battery. Will they be as accurate? Not so much. And for the 3rd reason, they're so much more personal. Now, I know it sounds cheesy, but there's something nice about the ritual of waking up and winding your watch and putting it on your wrist and just watching the seconds sweep by. I know time is relative, but it's just enjoyable to interact with. So if you're just getting into the hobby, I really do recommend you go for a mechanical watch, either hand winding or automatic or both. That's even better. Or you can just hit me up over here on YouTube and pick up this Timex. It's still on the table. And as a matter of fact, while I'm talking about it, I bought this watch for $5 years ago, and it's still, I haven't replaced the battery since I bought this. And I'm pretty sure it was working at an Urban Outfitter years ago when I bought this. I had an employee discount, and this is the longest I've actually, this is the oldest watch in my collection. And it's not for sale. You're gonna have to make a really good offer. But I love this piece. It's great. It's still accurate as heck, so how can you complain? But the bottom line here, guys, is that no matter what you choose, so long as it's something you enjoy seeing on your wrist, you're a winner at the end of the day. Guys, if you found this video enjoyable in the least, I'll encourage you to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy content like this, share this video with all your friends. Guys, this is the video that's going to make them buy watches, and you're going to have one more person to talk to, nag, about watches. Again, I'm your host, Patrick Marlett, and thank you for the time.